Oscar, you must be itching to play, I imagine, given the last year that you've had. Where are you? You look good on the track. How are you physically and mentally, I suppose?
Yeah, going really well. Probably trying to pull back on. Obviously, I want to be out there and playing games right now. I know we're still a couple of months away from the start of the year, so just trying to get my body in the space where not only play the start of the year, but play throughout the whole year as well. So body's feeling good and mind's good as well at the moment.
Season seems like it's a long way away, considering how much footy you missed.
Yeah, it does. It's been a pretty long pre-season. I mean, probably from whenever I was ruled out the end of last year, it's always been how do we get myself in a physical state that I'll be right to go by the start of this year, and the medicos have done a really good job with that, and just got to see through the last couple of months and then we're away.
Was playing last year ever in the frame at all?
Yeah, it was, absolutely. So when I was initially injured, we were looking to come back, and then probably around the halfway mark of the season, we had another setback which made it unattainable to be able to come and play. So that kind of took the decision out of our hands. And then, yeah, obviously the season was ruled out and turned into what can I do to help the team, and what can I do to get myself right for next year.
There was never a chance to play one game or two games by the end of the season or anything like that?
No, yeah, if there was an opportunity to do that, we would have done that. All I want to do is play footy and help out the guys. Obviously last year was a really tough year on field, and I wanted to help out any way I could, but just wasn't possible by the end of the year to get a couple of games out.
Where are you at with your recovery? I mean, is it your stress-related injury all cleared up, or are you still having to kind of manage your loading so that it doesn't reoccur? Like, is it something you're going to have to battle going forward?
It's all cleared up at the moment, which is great, but after missing a year of footy, a lot of reoccurrences can happen with other injuries, so the club's done a great job just to manage me, and as I said, we're still a couple of months away from footy, so a lot of different guys are on different programs at the moment, so the club's doing a great job to pull me out when need be.
When you're looking at hopefully getting back into more sort of competitive full contact stuff?
Yeah, we did some full contact stuff pre-Christmas, so it's really exciting. We probably haven't got into it as early, and I think over the next couple of weeks we'll start getting into some full contact gameplay. So excited, a little bit nervous. It's obviously been a while since I've tackled and bumped into some other guys, but really looking forward to it.
I know JK probably be a good friend of yours, but it must be nice that he's finally gone and give you a good run at it.
Oh, I'm not sure about nice. I mean, I loved playing with him, and he was always such a calm, levelled head, and sometimes you look around the room waiting for him to answer a question and he's not there, so someone else has to step up and answer it, but I've really enjoyed working under him, and I'm sure it will help me in the long run with my footy itself.
And for you, are you hoping to have a good run at owning that sort of forward position?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Jack Darling's still an All-Australian forward and has won a number of leading goal kickers at the club, so he's a terrific player, and we've played really well together for the last 4 or 5 years of my career, so it's not as much owning a position. If we can work well together to hopefully at the end of the day kick a lot of goals and help the team win, then that's the best thing for us.
How ready are you to potentially be that number one forward and to become a genuine number one forward in the competition?
Yeah, I think I'm ready. I mean, you've got to have that confidence, and it's something that Jack's done with JK. I mean, people talk about JK's record over a long period of time, and as they should, but Jack's done some incredible things in his own right. So we pretty much had 2 number one forwards for a long period of time, so I'm looking forward to doing that with Jack in the future as well.
You ready to take maybe the number one defender? Because I imagine you probably would have been getting number 2, number 3 before you went down injured a bit of the time. Yeah,
I mean, it's a good balance. I mean, there's probably a couple sides which have genuine number one defenders, but a lot of teams just go on matchups. So there might be a player who would, from the outside perspective, be looked at as the best defender, but he might match up better on someone else. So it's sometimes not as cut as clear as that. But yeah, if I get that opportunity, I mean, you just got to embrace it. It's a good sign if you're getting a good player from another side. It means they think you're pretty valuable to stopping you, and it'll help them win the game. So yeah, looking forward to just getting to that competitive aspect of footy again.
Do you feel any pressure now that JK's gone? There's a bit of outside pressure saying, you're back and you're this young gun. Do you feel any of that pressure at all?
Well, there's always pressure. I mean, no matter what stage of your career you're in, at the start, you feel pressure because you want to get in the side, and then you feel pressure because you want to make sure you stay in the side. So it's always there. There's just different levels of it, I think. All 22 guys that play have a high amount of pressure on them, and you just got to manage that as best as you can, and that's what makes you train hard and perform well, because there's always that level of expectation on you.
Do you have any goals, like in terms of goals kicked, I suppose, like any markers that you would see to be a complete and successful season for yourself?
Sometimes, I mean, I'll probably sit back once we get to the start of the season, but it's almost something you reflect on at the end. I mean, if you just go really cut and dry, like I just want to kick this amount of goals or whatever it is, sometimes not that clear and obvious. I mean, as a forward, you're often you're the back end of a play, and sometimes you have great games and you won't get anywhere near it, but you did all the processes right. So that's something JK was big on, focus on your processes and not the outcomes. So that's something that I've really been trying to focus on throughout my career, and will probably continue in that vein as well.
Does it feel a bit different? You've played a variety of roles, back up, ruckman, forward. Does it feel a bit different knowing you're probably going to be mainly as a forward for the rest of your career, hopefully now?
Yeah, it's exciting. I mean, I'm really looking forward to it. I've always enjoyed playing forward, and early in my career, I was just doing what I can to play a game. I was pretty aware that we had a really strong side throughout 2018 to probably 20, and if I didn't play a number of different roles, I probably wouldn't have been getting a game. So I'm under no illusions that versatility really helped me. So if the call comes out and I need to play down back or back up ruck, then I'll take that. But I'm really excited to play it forward as well this year.
So you'll be ready to go for round one?
Yeah, I'll be ready to go.
Play in the pre-season as well?
Yeah, I think so. I'm not sure what our plan is as a side in terms of who's going to play, but I'm doing everything I can to play every game of footy because I've missed a bit of footy, so I don't really want to miss out on much else.
How did the conversations go when it was decided you wouldn't play the season? You sit down and you have those chats. How did you deal with that at the time? Was it a bit disappointing?
Yeah, it was, absolutely. I mean, your job is to play football, and then when you can't do that, you feel a little bit lost. So I was really fortunate the club has a great support network, and they allowed me to get away and spend a bit of time with my family, which was really special for me, and it's probably something throughout the year you don't get a whole heap of time for. But the next thing went to, well, how do I get some purpose out of this year? So really try to work on some things away from football in terms of coaching, studies away from footy itself as well. So there were still some benefits and silver linings. Obviously, it wasn't the year I wanted to have, but at least at the end of the year, I can reflect back on it and still say there were some positives out of it.
Do you think those things away from footy as well will help sort of keep some perspective in footy, because it can be pretty myopic at times, and do you think that sort of just gives you a little bit more balance?
Yeah, absolutely. It's something that the club is massive in promoting. I mean, a lot of guys, if not all of them, do something away from the footy club, and it always kind of levels you and keeps you in touch with footy is really important, but it's not everything in the world. So when things are going poorly on the footy field, how do you disassociate yourself with that and still be achieving in other areas if on-field isn't working for you?
So you're often touted as the future leader of the club. Whether there's a transition this year or in future years, is that something that you have active sort of aspirations for?
I mean, it is a club voted and player voted thing, so it's not something that you put your hand up. If it happens, it happens. It'd be a massive honour. I mean, you look at the captains this football club has had, and they're some of not only the best players, but the best men that we've had. So it'd be an honour to be in those conversations. But in saying that, Luke has done a terrific job. I think the way he's handled a couple of really tough years has been tremendous, and I can't imagine there'd be a whole heap of change coming up that soon.
How confident is the group that you can get back to playing finals football this year after being so far away from it last year?
Yeah, really confident. I mean, you look at some of our list and the players that didn't have any impact on field or had minimal. I think it's really exciting. I mean, you've kind of gone from a stage where there's probably not a whole heap of expectation, so you can let your shoulders down and just play as well and as hard as you can. And footy's a funny game. Things change really quickly, and you ride momentum. And if we get some, I think we can make some real damage. So just looking forward to seeing what we can do as a group.
Also, usually, there's a little bit of a process, I guess, with that, coming back from where you are to getting back to that sort of top sort of position. Has there been an active discussion as it like, a 2-year, 5-year sort of plan as to how you want to sort of progress?
Oh, the players aren't really involved with those conversations. Maybe they might be happening in the background, I'm not too sure. But as players, our goal is how can we be as good as we can every day and win as many games as we can for the footy club. And that's the way we've handled this pre-season. I think the whole football department has done a really terrific job with allowing us to have a really competitive environment. And because of that, we've seen some great performances. Everyone's come back in really fit and healthy shape. There's a lot of guys on the track who are training really well, which is a positive. So competition is the best thing you can do to try and play at a higher level, and it's something we're getting right at the moment.
Sort of seems like there was a massive push by the group to come back and really good fitness. I mean, the guys out there looking like fit right from sort of the get-go. Was that a discussion at the end of the season that you kind of went, we're not going to have that much of a break, we're going to be doing that extra running?
I guess so. I mean, general fitness was important because we had so many guys with injuries. So if you can have prolonged training, I suppose, you're less likely to get injured. And I'm not an S&C guru, but that's kind of the philosophy that we've gone with. And I mean, fingers crossed, it seems like a lot of guys are going really well at the moment, and we just got to keep keep training, keep getting better, doing the little things right, and eventually it'll work out for us.
You look as fit as you've ever been physically. Have you kind of tried to add some muscle size or trim down? Like, what have you kind of done personally in your program to kind of get yourself ready for this year?
It is, as I said, it's probably a backlog to last year. I know when you're not playing or running and doing as much training, you've probably got an opportunity to spend a bit more time in the gym and put on a bit more size, and then it quickly goes from, all right, you've put on this size, how do we lose it again to become a good runner? And it's always something I've prided myself on, being a fairly good runner for a key position player. So, I mean, the S&C really control most of that, and they've done a terrific job with setting me up to playing some good footy this year.
Have you held on to some of that size, though, that you managed to put on in the gym last year?
Yeah, thankfully, I've put on a little bit of weight. I think I'm also 23, so my body's still developing, and it's probably a natural progression as well. I think you find most guys, probably 24, 25, get to their ideal playing weight, and that's something I'm still working through at the moment.
I guess there's been a call from a lot of the fans and people outside the club for an injection of youth, which the club seem to have done over the off-season. How impressed have you been with some of those guys you've brought in, and Ruben Ginbey, Elijah Hewitt, and that they seem like they're training the house down?
Yeah, they are. They're going really well. I mean, they're young players, they're young men, so they're still finding their way, and you don't want to temper expectation because they're really exciting. Just hoping we can see a little bit of them this year, and they're going about things the right way behind the scenes as well. So it's really exciting. Every year there's new guys, and then players last year, I thought Rhett Bazzo, Brady Hoff had great years as well. We didn't get to see any of Campbell Chesser, but there's a lot of great young players coming through the footy club, and as many young players you can get playing high level of footy early in their career, it's always going to be for the better.
Isaiah Winters back training with the squad. Did the playing group have much to do with the decision from coming back from the Waffle squad to train the seniors?
It wasn't as much that we made a decision, but collectively throughout the footy club, the coaches and players and the whole footy department, he's really earned the trust back. I mean, if you see him out on the track, he looks really good, he's training well, and he met all his targets he needed to. So from that perspective, he's done everything in the really right way over the last 4-6 weeks, however long it's been. We're just happy to have him back out there. He's a bubbly person, and he's a good football player as well. So we're just hoping to see him continue on the right path, training well, and go from there.
There's a legal process still to play out. Pending whatever the outcome of that is, should his situation potentially, you might not know, but could it potentially change? Could he potentially go back to the seconds, or depending on whatever the outcome is?
Yeah, look, I don't really have any idea with that. I mean, that's all kept behind closed doors from the players, but we'll just let the legal processes take care of itself and deal with it once that's happened.
Tom Barras was out there training and actually doing some ball work today.
Yeah.
Did that surprise you a little bit, that he was taking marks and doing things out there with the boys?
No, I mean, he's only had a little minor injury over the off-season Christmas period, so he's been out there training and he looks pretty good. So I'm sure he'll get into some more formal ball work as well in the next couple of weeks as well, and it doesn't seem like a too serious an injury that will affect much at all, really.
Play on Tom much at training? Is there any particular backs you have good duels with at training? I know there's some great vision of Schofield and Josh Kennedy a couple of seasons back. Anything like that for yourself?
I always enjoyed playing on Govan TB. I mean, particularly when I got to the football club 2018, I think Gov had come off four All-Australians in a row. So it's always good testing yourself against, in my opinion, two of the best key defenders going around in the game. And it definitely helps you once you get to an AFL game. You've already played against some of the best, so it's pretty comparable. Young Harry Edwards goes really well on the track, and he's a real competitor. He's fierce and he doesn't like to let you win, so he creates a great challenge as well. Really fortunate. I mean, there's a lot of great key backs that as a forward I can work with myself against and try and get the best out of each other.
With Josh Kennedy's retirement, obviously changes your role, but also probably that third tall. Jake Waterman's one that sort of, a bit like you, has played a bit everywhere. Do you back him to sort of team up with you and Jack as that third tall hybrid and be that real complete forward line?
Yeah, I thought Jake probably had a really underrated season last year. I think that was probably one of his more complete seasons, and in a year where we didn't get a whole heap of supply on the forward line, I thought he was really effective, and those within the footy club know how well respected and important Jake is to our success on field, and he's a cracking bloke around the locker room as well, so I'm sure he'll get more opportunities and hopefully he'll take them with both hands.
And finally, the morale seems to be really good at training at the moment too, as well as the fitness and that. Is it different to last pre-season where there was a few more injuries and a few guys more in the rehab group?
I mean, morale was always pretty good. It just happened, a lot of the injuries came probably from this time until round one, so I think the S&C staff and all the doctors are making a really concerted effort to make sure we come into the season fit and healthy. And most of the time in the footy club, the morale's up. I mean, you have 45 guys and a lot of them are your best mates, and it's a great job to have them. We're all really fortunate, so you don't really have too much of an excuse to come in grumpy. I mean, you're pretty fortunate to be in the position we're in.